Hey, my fucking god. My internet is shitting the bed once again. I fucking hate this. Finally, I fucking... I swear to god, I hate this so much. You have no idea. I'm finally here. Right when the chapter's fucking released and my internet decides to be fucking so fucking dumb. I hate this shit so much. Like, what the fuck? Oh my fucking Christ, man. I would not be surprised if it's the construction right outside my fucking house that's causing this fucking issue. This is the second time. On Monday it was perfectly fine. I don't know why it's happening now again. But my internet is fluctuating once again. Don't know why, and it pisses me off. I already got disconnected once. Tried resetting my router. That didn't fucking work. It's like, fucking hell. I don't fucking get it. I really don't fucking get it. It pisses me off, but I'll see how it works. I'll see how it goes. If I get disconnected several times, I'm just gonna call it. I'm just gonna go fucking get annoyed. But anyway, Nami Nation. Holy shit. We've got some cool things to talk about, Nami Nation. Nami fans all over the world. Nami fans. Nami fans. Because Nami had a tremendous and wonderful chapter. Her stonks have risen once again. Just like I predict and believe will continue to happen as the story progresses towards the final arc. Holy shit. I am excited. Hopefully you guys are excited. I'm just doing yeah, let me just do this. How about that? Hiya. Nami Nation. How are you? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful, what is this, Thursday or Friday or whatever day it is for you. Because if you have seen chapter 1129 of One Piece that just came out literally about an hour ago, or a little bit less than that, we Nami fans have received a glorious chapter that showcased many qualities of Nami that we both enjoy and love. Now, exactly what kind of things did we get this chapter? Well, we got a bunch of stuff from this chapter. Stuff like Nami's power, such as Nami being viewed as a beauty, supposedly as a queen, as well as, you know, like I said, Nami's power, aka Nami's thunderous attack that occurred in this chapter, as well as Nami actually showcasing why she is so goddamn good at her being a navigator. Why she cannot be replaced, despite the fact that so many people, are claiming that she could be replaced by any other navigator. However, in this chapter, we have found out that is not the case because she is a prodigy. We will go over a bunch of Nami stuff in this chapter, as well as other stuff in this chapter as well. We'll go over that stuff too. But this is a huge and really tremendous chapter for Nami. I am excited. Hopefully you, fellow Nami fans who are in attendance, are as well. And I am excited. I am excited about this chapter. Now, of course, there was also some stuff about this chapter in regards to Nami that I was not too pleased about. We will go over that. We will go over each chapter one by one. Each page one by one. I don't know if this is going to be a problem for YouTube, but I do have the chapter here. Probably, you know what, I'll bring the chapter over here, so you know I don't get into like too much trouble. So I guess I don't need this. And just have Luffy laugh like a madman, and we will go over the chapter. All right. The chapter's called Living Dolls. Living dolls. Which essentially would mean that based off from the last chapter, we find out that the person who is in charge of this, the so-called fake sun god, is apparently using this as a way to recreate his weird fantasies about, you know, a dollhouse, or, you know, like the last chapter was called RPG. He's viewing this as like an RPG. Essentially, he is a big time nerd, I guess you could say. He's like a big time otaku in the One Piece world. Like, if you are thinking like, you know, oh my god, look at all this, you know, nice Lego structures and stuff like that, and then we have this guy who's just playing with dolls and stuff like that to create his own universe. Kind of, it's similar to like what actually, it's not really at all what otakus do. But I did mention before, I think this was like last stream or something like that. He is basically recreating something that happened in the Lego movie. In the Lego movie, there's a scene where this kid is essentially imagining this Lego utopia based off like his father's miniatures and, you know, architectural stuff that he built out of Legos in his basement, right? And the son plays with the characters and creates his own story. Essentially, the fake sun god, is essentially doing the same thing and using the Straw Hats and other humans who he captured into a very similar situation, creating his own sort of story, his own sort of fictional RPG, right? So, I'll explain more as we continue going down the chapter. But first up, let's go look and see. Let's take a look at the cover page story. We finally see Otama again. It's nice to see Otama. She is training hard to be a ninja, and Shinobu, unfortunately, seems to have regained the weight that she has lost. Now, you know, you could make fun of her for it, whatever. You know, because people will make fun of her for it, but it's hard. When you have lived a long time with a certain amount of like body weight, or even when you lose weight, or when you start losing weight, it is very hard sometimes to, you know, go back to what you originally were. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. I lost weight before, and unfortunately I kind of gained that weight back because it's very difficult. A lot of times people are able to, you know, with enough conviction, are able to, you know, make yourself healthy. You know, I unfortunately am weak-willed. I'm a weak-willed individual, and yeah, so that didn't happen for me. But that didn't mean I didn't try, and that doesn't mean I haven't tried since. It's very difficult, especially if you have lived a long time, you know, with a lot of weight. So I'm not gonna laugh at Shinobu. I'm not gonna say, oh my god, Shinobu, what happened to you? Why you know? Because at the end of the day, I know what that feels like, where like you just, it's just very difficult to, you know, it's very difficult to hold on to that weight. So I'm not gonna make fun of her for that. But it's nice to see Otama and Yamato cheering Otama on. That's very adorable. All right, so we start off with the chapter. We see the great sun god. Please come down. The sky is falling. You can see the flames from the crack. It's the end of the world. The fact that he gaslighted all these people into believing that they live in this is wild. This man This person is a fucking savage. She gaslit every single one of these people to believing that this is an actual world. Just do some push-ups. I wish it was that easy. I really wish. It is not. The sun god, I shall never forgive this slight. Use living dolls. You demolish my room temple. So it's essentially his room. And my poor pet, I mean servants. So essentially he's using humans as like fucking dolls. That is kind of sick and twisted. That is very sick and twisted. Did I get Sparking Zero? I did not. I don't have current plans to get it yet. We move on. That guy is way too scary. He's more like a demon than a god. This is Nami. Is it okay for the town to be shaken like this? All this was really made out of those blocks. Jump over, cat. Wow, great is cat. He must have put a ton of time into it. Let's try to get away without destroying his hard work. And of course, the jokes write themselves. The cat destroyed. The cat continued to destroy it. Stop that. Stop that, ish cat. You, why are you aiding them? Yeah. We can reach the end of the world in no time thanks to this cat. Huh? We're going where now? And, okay, so this is going to be very important. Because this is where, like, the first thing about how great Nami is this chapter is showcased. You need to do every day some push-ups every week, some more. It's about passion. You have no idea how difficult it is to lose a ton of weight, do you? It's not really just about passion. Like, it's not really passion that, you know, prevents a lot of these people from not losing weight after they start. It's not that. It's definitely not just passion. It's not. There's a lot of factors to go into. There's a lot. Some people need someone else to motivate them. That's a thing. It's not them being lazy. It's not them being like, you know, weak-willed. It's just a lot of times people need something to convince them, something to tell them like, oh, let's begin. And that thing has to also convince them to keep pushing towards it. I know, because I have tried doing it solo. I've tried doing it, you know, and I did lose a lot of weight. I did lose like 30 fucking pounds. But there comes a time where it becomes difficult. Specifically when you start seeing that you're not losing as much weight as you used to, right? And then that just completely just like makes you lose your confidence. Makes you lose that passion of doing it over and over again. It really does. It really fucking does. It's hard. It's very difficult, and it has to be more than just passion. Luckily, I have a trainer. Sometimes you need a trainer or motivator to help you. You don't even need to essentially get a trainer, but like a friend or something to help you motivate, to help you go to that. You need someone. You need someone to come to your house, smack you in the fucking face, and be like, yo, let's go. We're going to the gym. Let's fucking go. Let's do this. Sometimes you need that. You need something. You need some type of motivation. It's not just like, oh, you have to be passionate about losing weight. You could be passionate about losing weight in the very beginning for like a couple of weeks, but then you slowly lose that passion. You slowly lose it because now all of a sudden you've seen the progress. You're excited about the progress, but then the progress slows down. And then you lose motivation. You lose that confidence. You lose that like, why am I doing this if it's not working anymore? That's what happens. It's what happened to me. It's literally what happened to me. Right? Also, America sucks in terms of food, but that's another discussion that just puts more emphasis on like why it's so fucking difficult to lose weight in America sometimes, because the fucking shit that they put into the fucking food. But again, it takes a lot more than just passion. It takes a lot more. Right? Some people are able to do it. I'm not saying it's impossible. Some people are able to do it. Right? Some people are able to do it. They don't need a trainer. They don't need someone to motivate them. They could do it simply based on passion. But there's a lot of people who can't. There's a lot of people who can't. So I'm like, I'm not gonna make fun of Shinobu, because at the same time, it happens. You know? Even if you're finally skinny and you feel motivated, sometimes it just comes back. It just sucks. It's such a shitty thing. 5 years have passed. I gained weight and I'm going back to the gym. I need to thrive in motivation. Exactly. It happens. I don't blame people. if they suddenly give up. I don't blame people if they, they try to help people. At the end of the day, they need that motivation. They need something to push them towards it. So, but again, everyone is different. Some people don't need motivation. Some people could do it purely by passion. But there's so many other factors as to why certain people can't. Or certain people stop. Or certain people need something or someone to help keep motivating them. American food is poison. The stuff you put in American food is so fucking bad. Land of the free. You could put anything you want in your food. Things that are banned in Europe and Asia. Yo, forget that. We have that shit in American food, and it just completely just... It's all about capitalism, making money, and doesn't matter, what kind of stuff is put into the food as long as the FDA approves it. It's just how it is. It's yeah. You need to thrive in motivation, exactly. So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on from that. And let's talk about the first thing Nami showcased in this chapter that I am thrilled about. Nami throws away the map that she stole. Usopp is like, what the fuck? Why'd you throw it out? Why'd you throw out the blueprints? Why'd you throw out the map? And Nami simply says, don't worry, I memorized them. Nami is a fucking prodigy. Nami is a fucking navigational prodigy. All the time that people have always said that Nami can be replaced as a navigator. Go eat your words. Because this fucking chapter proves that Nami's a fucking prodigy who's able to remember a fucking map. How many navigators are able to do that? We don't know. Mostly because we haven't seen any other navigator except the guy who is chasing them, right? But she's a fucking prodigy who cannot be replaced. And that's how good she is. That's how goddamn good she is. That is tremendous to see that Oda finally inserted some sort of thing with her navigation, with her map building skills, with her map skills. And we finally see it happen in this chapter. Something. Even if it's just like a little crumb. We see something about Nami's passion as a navigator. About, creating her world map. We finally see it again. It's been so long. We finally have something again in regards to that. It is so good to see. God damn, this chapter is amazing for Nami. Then she says, look, Luffy, you see that mirror? We can see the door from early in it. If you look closely, all the clouds are just strung up balls of cotton. This place may look expansive, but it's really just a giant's room. Right, so the horizon only seems endless, but it shouldn't be much further. We just need to keep pushing forward. And they have a map, which I'm assuming she memorized. And we even have a map of the giant's room as well. Like over the top view. Like, goddamn. Ooh. The fucking... Nami showcasing her navigation stuff is so wonderful to see in this. So fucking good. So damn fucking good. Oh my god. Fucking love this chapter for Nami. There's some bad parts. I won't, we will get to it, but there are some bad parts. So now let's move on. Now I see. If you believe those blueprints show everything about this room, then you are mistaken. Verily, this place is in truth a giant detention center. What, a prison? Okay, that's interesting. A giant detention center. I wonder if that means, like, it's part of a prison or something else. And then he starts swinging a net because he thinks he could catch them like fucking bugs. A net? Why is he talking like a samurai? Oh, right, because he's using an old honorific that's no longer used. And he's speaking like a samurai because I think at the time the honorific that he's using was also used around the same time as like what the people of Wano and like the people of Japan used to say back then before it changed. Oh, sorry. And then he tries to capture them with the net. And the facility was designed to ensure no giants escape its walls. Even if you were to reach the other side, do you think you have a hope of breaking through? That way is another dead end. So based on that, it sounds like he's saying that they are currently in a giant prison. A prison that holds giants. and essentially kind of like, I guess you could say like Impel Down, like the Giants version of Impel Down. It's interesting that this maybe what this toy box essentially is kind of like a prison but for humans in a way, but he uses it and creates it as if he's like using them as like dolls to, you know, create whatever fantasy he wants to, you know, create. So that is very interesting, right? Hey cat, keep running. Yeah. Great is cat. Why are those people riding you? Hurry up and go. Then we have Zoro and Sanji destroying the net. Fantastic Zoro Sanji combo. Awesome. They destroyed the net. The cat is free, and they continue going on. The metal wires? This resistance is futile. Ahead is the domain of the mighty ear god. Great, sun god. About the ear god, the truth is... Oh, we found his body burned to a crisp earlier. The cause is unknown. We thought a misfortune couldn't get any worse. That's the fucking... that's the animal that fucking Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji ate. And, yeah. The Straw Hats are just completely fucking up this man's fucking playground. It's so fucking funny. Then we saw the crack in the sky. This day is truly cursed. They beat it? No way. That carnivorous rabbit? My Gult bunny? It was already too late. Yeah! How lovely, how precious. The world is a marvel. A grand tale is unfolding in my miniature garden, taking a life of its own right before my very eyes. I underestimated them. This is giving me goosebumps. Verily, evil has spawned, and heroes are being born in a world I created. History is being made. This is the beauty of my living dolls, a minimalist world, and it's all mine. Mine! Okay, so so now he's fucking excited like a fucking otaku now. And, yeah, essentially, he's playing this as like, it's like a D&D board. You know, like a Dungeons and Dragons type of board, type of playthrough, like an RPG where like the heroes are escaping him as a villain. And he's like super excited because apparently he loves his shit. So, yeah, that's it. This could be our only chance. The escape route is open. Let's run while we still can. Spread the word. What's he laughing about? Luffy says. It's a live drama playing out in the palm of my hand. Hyruden may recognize you, but I don't. Let's see what you do next. Ooh. Little green star, Usopp. Skull bomb grass. Hey, Usopp does something. And it looks like he creates like some sort of like skull-shaped atomic bomb looking thing. Interesting. Hi, Sandy. What's up? We're going over the new One Piece chapter that just came out. It's no use. I broke the mirror, but... Well, that wall is seriously strong. Just leave it to me. Yeah, brilliant. What a chapter. I can't get enough of these weaklings struggling against their fate. Their bitter failure and hollow despair only showcases their humanity. Wow, this guy's a really cocky asshole, isn't he? He's a fucking cocky piece of shit. Setbacks and disappointments. That's the core of character development. Alright. This folly is comical to watch, but your valiant effort moved me to tears. I'm glad you made your way to me. Luffy Tasso, Zoro Tasso, Nami Tasso, Usopp Tasso. So the Tasso is the honorific that's been used like during like ancient times in Japan, but it slowly went away, and according to someone who explained it once said that the only people who necessarily use it are like otakus now. In Japan, whenever they talk about like figurines and like any of their like media stuff that they love too much. He knows our names, Nami asks. San Tasso, Cho Tasso. What's a Tasso? Good question, Chopper. Good question. I'm gonna punch through. Time for a little gear forth. And this is also the biggest thing from this chapter. So if we remember 2 chapters ago, there's a lot of people thinking that there was a lot of errors going on with Oda. I think that's still a possibility that Oda seems to have still has some issues with like his eyesight. At least that's what it seems like maybe. And you know, there's certain things that he did in that 2 chapters ago with like changing the swords and stuff like that. That turns out they were errors. It could still be the possibility of something else is going on, like illusions and stuff like that. But it seems more to me like it was just specific errors that Oda has done. Unfortunately, it could be that his eyesight has returned to being a little bad, or someone didn't catch it and they just printed it. Could also be that the chapter was being rushed, like the chapter they were running out of time to finish the chapter and they couldn't fix all the errors. That could also have been that. So they might fix it when it comes out on the full volume, so we'll see it in regards to that. But This is important because Luffy is now able to use Gear 4 on separate body parts. Similar to how, like, when the time skip happened and they came back to Shaboti, you saw that Luffy was able to use Gear 2nd in just his arm. You know, it's just his arm that that he had Gear 2nd activated. This is essentially the same thing. It's Luffy progressing and getting stronger so that Gear 4 could now literally be used for him in basic form, right? So I think that showcases just how strong Luffy has now gotten and how, you know, used to Gear 4 he is. And that, I think, comes from the idea that Gear 5 probably uses so much more energy than Gear 4 that Luffy is now able to, because of all the strain that he has ever encountered while using Gear 5, Gear 4 doesn't feel like it takes up as much energy as it used to. Could it be from the Green Fairy? We don't know yet, but it's possible now that Luffy has gotten so strong, and this is a way to showcase a character's development when he uses a technique that used to make, you know, made him struggle or make a character struggle. Now they're able to use that same technique but with ease. It happens in a lot of fiction, and a lot of times you see it mostly with like monsters that you see in the very beginning of the story, right? Who are tough, who seem powerful. They reappear again like later on, like hours later, or a few, or like hundreds of chapters later, and they're like fodder all of a sudden. You see it like that because the characters are getting stronger. This is a way to visually showcase that, and to tell you via storytelling. Almost like Goku and Super Saiyan. Exactly. Right? It's the same process. The stronger the character gets as their adventure continues, the more chances they're able to use techniques that they once had really struggled maintaining much more simpler. Which is why Luffy having issues with Gear 5 won't be something that always continuously happens. I guarantee you, by the time he faces Blackbeard, right, or whatever the final conflict is, Luffy will be able to use Gear 5 like simple. He won't get tired. He'll constantly be able to use it. It will probably still sap his energy, but not as much as it currently was during Wano and how much it was during Egghead. The more Luffy uses techniques, the stronger he gets, the more he's able to use a lot of these old techniques that used to give him trouble. And that's what this chapter and what Oda is trying to showcase with us, with Luffy being able to transform one body part in Gear 4 instead of going full Gear 4, which is really good. It showcases Luffy's overall growth. And then, okay, so here comes the next Nami part. So this is going to be exciting. Hey, Usopp, there's no one to blame over a natural disaster, right? You mean like earthquakes, floods, and storms? Nope, generally those things just happen. Okay, so Nami has this disgust face. I'm gonna show you because I actually have did a screenshot of it. I think I did a screenshot. I did not. But I could show you this screenshot of her disgust face, which I love. Hold on, let me just. I have a new device that I've been using. I have a Stream Deck from Elgato. Ah, there it is. It's right there. But this is her disgust face. I fucking love it. Ah, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to zoom in. Yeah. This is Nami's disgust face. It looks fucking fantastic. Did I miss Nami goodness? This chapter has so many Nami goodness. It's amazing. This isn't one of them. We will see very soon. But initially what happened was that we finally had something showcase about Nami being a very good navigator and a prodigy, which was something that we haven't seen in a very long time. And this chapter showcased more of that, where she's able to literally memorize a map and a blueprint like that and be able to navigate, you know, them towards wherever they need to go to escape the situation that they're in. It's been a long time since we've seen that, and it's fucking great. This chapter is just full of good Nami goodness. But yes, this Nami disgust face is fucking great. I want to use it as an emote. So I'm probably going to have to do it later on. But yeah, good, because that guy definitely put us through a lot of crap. He really pissed me off. Yeah. Especially over the fact that this guy also undressed her while she was sleeping and unconscious, which is a fucking shitty, fucking disgusting thing he did. I told you to get your raid. Oh, speaking of disgust faces, I swear, Oda loves doing this, and it sort of pisses me off. Like, what is this, man? Like, what? Why are you giving Sanji such a fucking face? You know? What is this? I totally get your rage, and I'm sorry, no forgiving mind. I can't stop thinking about how you got to dress you up. Why do you say this, man? Why? And why do you have that face? It's like, god damn, dude. Oh. I swear to God, Oda never misses a chance to literally bring out this gag from Sanji, and also give him these type of expressions. Like, he's literally telling Nami, he's literally telling her that he's jealous of this giant for undressing her and dressing her up. And he's upset because of that. What? Like, I understand what he was trying to do here, right? I understand what he was trying to say, but it came off so fucking wrong, right? Instead of making this face and saying it, I can't stop thinking about how he got to dress you up. How about saying it like, I know, right? He violated us by undressing us when we were unconscious. That's all you had to say. That's all you had to fucking say. That he violated us all, right? Because he dressed us and he forced us into these get-ups. He undressed us, he saw us naked and all that stuff. Instead, he's thinking about like how he like the giant had a chance to dress up Nami. Like the way it's being phrased is so fucking bad. And I don't understand why Oda does this. Also, I don't understand why Oda always does it for Nami, where he has to put in these weird situations where like these perverts fucking have to like do this shit. We saw it in Thriller Bark when those zombies decided to dress, take off Nami's clothes and dress her in a wedding dress. It's the same situation with this fucking giant. I hate that Nami's put into these situations. This is the bad part of what happens to Nami in this chapter. That aside from all the amazing stuff that happened in this chapter, it's just so Hello, Frieza. Sanji's the ultimate simp. Yes, he is very simp-like. Like, I don't. It pisses me off. That really does. Anyway, I don't want to stay focused on that. I grind him to dust with my own legs. Get a grip, Sanji-kun. Besides, I have a feeling he's about to feel some divine retribution. Divine retribution. Oh my god. That is an important quote from Nami. We'll talk about it soon. Let's just first get to the part where that divine retribution comes from. So now we finally find out who exactly this person is. This person is a member of the Hiruden's crew. Hiruden is the giant that Luffy meets in Dressrosa, who also joins Luffy's Grand Fleet. And he apparently was the navigator of the crew. So that's actually really cool, because now you have Nami. We finally actually see a new navigator aside from Nami, and I think it was Lafitte from Blackbeard's crew. We finally see another navigator, right? Turns out he's a fucking pervert and weirdo, but who has like these weird fascination of making humans look like fucking dolls and playing them as dolls. Hello, B2K, how are you? And it's interesting to finally meet another navigator. And it's just funny because of what happens later in this chapter. But yeah, Mugen, what you got for me this time? Hey, this is the Straw Hat crew, but the giant warrior pirates were guiding them. Something must have happened. They're fast asleep. Wait, if they came from Egghead, did they go through the sleeping mist belt? So that's what happened. They didn't get drunk. It wasn't an illusion. They accidentally went to a sleeping mist belt and fell asleep because of that. In other words, they were too drunk to realize that they fell right into a place where they should have not gone into. I know, and I saw this Twitter debate about this in regards to this, because like it's still weird that people were essentially calling out Nami, because as a navigator she should have noticed, like she was going to the sleeping the sleeping mist, but why didn't she notice it? She was drunk. She was partying with everybody else. She drank so much green fairy that she was unconscious. She had a hangover. She was drunk. Of course she wouldn't notice. The giants were leading them. The giants fucked up in this scenario. It wasn't them that fucked up. It was the giants who fucked up. Because why weren't the Giants paying attention to where the fuck they needed to go? Even he's like, weren't the giant warrior pirates guiding them? Like, why are you blaming Nami for this? I swear to God, people try everything in their possible way to try to blame someone that had nothing to do with it. So it's just very, I swear to God, people. Anyway. Hey, this is awesome. Hiruden joined you all on his own. Alright, he's upset because Hiruden joined the Grand Fleet. He did not like that at all. He wanted us new giant pirates to serve you, as if Elbaf's strongest warriors don't follow itty bitty humans. Hasn't he got a shred of pride? Oh, he's one of those, he's one of those characters. And then we have a interesting panel. This is more of the shipper in me coming out a little bit right here. I'll give you just like my, I'll give you two sides to this. I'll give you my shipper side to it, and I'll just give you my normal side to it. But, my shipper side to this is two things. One, you know, I don't like that, you know, he has him unconscious. But this is a cool, you know, Luffy Nami panel. Great, awesome. The thing that's the most interesting about this panel is, oh wow, it's my queen Nam Tasso. First off, dude, you wish. She's not your queen. Get you fucking perverted asshole. But it's a nice panel because think about it this way. Nami has been called and known to be essentially have like this queenliness nature according to Oda. She has been viewed as like a very beautiful person, a very beautiful woman, and he has showcased her being the queen piece in like the chess color spread. There's that, you know, medieval color spread of Luffy being king and Nami essentially being like the princess queen to him, right? You also have them sitting on the throne in that 20th anniversary color spread, right? And now you have like a moment here where literally someone is calling Nami a queen while holding up the future Pirate King. As a Luffy Nami fan, you are fucking excited about this. This is a great, well, not excited. You enjoyed this panel. However, I will say this. This is the TCB fan translation, so I don't know if this is the actual translation of it. While I am a little happy about this, I do want to wait for the actual Raws and the official translation for this, because if he actually says queen, that's really good. If he doesn't, then, you know, then this is all for naught, right? But it's still interesting for now that we are seeing this. Again, have to wait for the Raws and the official to see if actually he says queen. But interesting panel here. It's a very interesting panel here. I'm just saying it as a shipper. As a non-shipper, it's clearly, you know, him picking up Luffy and Nami and Luffy because, you know, Hiruden joined Luffy's Grand Fleet. He looked at him. And he's like, this is the guy fucking Luffy fucking, you know, Hiruden fucking followed me, and he's fucking weak as shit, right? And then you have Nami, the only female that went into the Sleeping Mist, and of course, him being an otaku. When you're an otaku, or not an otaku. Well, I don't want to keep saying the word otaku. That's really not the right word for it. But whenever you're a fan of a female character, right, or anything like that, you buy certain things. You kind of act this way, like, you know, waifus. You know, like if you have a wife, you kind of act as, oh, that's my waifu right there. You know, that kind of stuff. He's essentially being that, and he's viewing Nami as such, as like, you know, this is his wife, who, you know, like the anime character that you consider your waifu kind of thing, right? That's what's essentially what he's trying to do, right? As a Luffy Nami shipper, you are excited because it is a nice panel that actually has some significance in the context of the dialogue. While it isn't like amazing evidence that, like, you know, you could use against someone in the debate, what it does showcase though is that if this is true, if this is exactly what is being said, if he actually does say queen, guess what? The idea of Oda seeing Nami as a queen, Luffy as a king, and like the color spreads and stuff like that, that's what's important. The idea, right? The idea that he does this as a pattern, right? So, and there's one other thing I do want to mention in regards to this whole king and queen thing. The way the Straw Hats are essentially trying to escape from here resembles a lot of like the medieval hierarchy. Essentially what I mean is that you have the king, Luffy, being in the front, Nami, the queen, literally, discussing like where they need to go, like also like telling everyone like what they have to do. The king, Luffy, being the one who's going to essentially lead them out. Then you have Sanji and Zoro being the knights, the defense, who are protecting the king and queen, along with Usopp, who's like jester, I guess. And then you have Chopper, who's like the pet, or like the kid or whatever of the situation. You have a medieval, I guess you could say trope or like situation here in regards to how Oda is planning them, which isn't necessarily about just it being medieval, but it's also about like RPG stature. You have the hero and the heroine in the front. You have the two strongest, or like the tank, or like the the second strongest character in your party being like the defense and stuff like that. So it's connected in that way. Oda is playing around with the idea of like video games and JRPG and that kind of stuff with this, which is fantastic. So yay. But the next part, which I still hate, is that Nami starts to stir, and he has this weird face on. It's like a really perverted face, and then he puts him back to sleep, which, just go back to sleep, you're surprised when you wake up. And then, of course, he changes their clothes, which is essentially him being very much similar to like what Absalom tried to do, with changing Nami's clothes into the wedding dress, which disgusts me. I see you have no clue where you are. Stay and run wild here. Now you will serve me. That's funny. He thinks they'll serve him. Sorry. Ready, Zeus? Here we go. All right. I'm ready to go, Nami. Then by all means. Ah! Look at this. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at that thunderbolt. Nami literally fucking struck this motherfucker with a strong thunderbolt blast. Fuck yeah. Nami showcasing her power and strength in this situation. She was able to give Zeus the ability to power up, feeding him electro balls, cool balls, whatever it is that he needed to power up. And essentially was able to strike this motherfucker, his name is Road, down with a huge thunderbolt. God fucking damn it. That showcased a lot about, Nami's potential and strength. Like, that's really good. Now, the question is, we see here, like, we don't see him knocked out or anything, but he does look like he's stunned, right? It does look like he's stunned. More than likely, she probably didn't finish him off, which is a little disappointing, but seeing a attack like that from her is fantastic. Holy shit. Neo Crusader, hello. Thank you so much for the follow. How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. We are going over the new One Piece chapter, and Nami fans should be very excited because it showcases a lot of good things in terms of for Nami, so that's exciting. And then this is the last double spread page. Afnir, oh shit, what's up? How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. Are you having fun with this new Nami chapter? It's fucking amazing, yo. Nami Nation is popping right now from this chapter. It's such a good chapter. We saw so many things in regards to Nami. It's amazing. From not only her power ability, from her navigation, and dream stuff, to just her being the one to take down this fucking giant who essentially, undressed her, unwilling while she was sleeping. So it's like, yeah, I'm glad Nami was the one that was able to, like, attack him and like deal damage to him, because fuck that guy, I hate to do this, but we're leaving. Bye bye Block Country. Gum. We're finally getting out. Serves you right, you giant perv. Which is funny because it's like, really, Sanji, you calling someone else a giant perv, dude? Like, you have tremendous amount of sus dialogue in this chapter to be calling someone else a goddamn perv. Like, come on. But, it is what it is. Nami's happy because she was able to deal damage because of Zeus. That's great. Luffy, meow. Please let outside be Elbaf. Usopp prays. Kong gun. Alright, we're free. What lies just out of sight? So, there's a few things this could be. What is Luffy seeing after he destroyed the wall? There's a few things I think this could be. It could definitely be Elbaf, right? Because they did, Road did mention that this is a place where giants are held kind of like prisoners in a way. You know, like even if they were able to escape, they would be like, you know, it would be almost impossible to do anything because it's like a prison specifically made for giants. I think they are in Elbaf, and what they are possibly seeing is Yggdrasil, which is the giant tree of life in Norse mythology. I think that's what Luffy is seeing. Now, this could be just him exclaiming and being like, you know, oh, we're finally free. Look, the outside world. And then the next chapter we find out, oh, what the fuck is this shit? Well, this is a prison. What the fuck? You know, that kind of stuff. It could be anything. I think, if I had to guess, I think they are viewing Elbaf now with Yggdrasil in the distance. And it's probably a huge fucking tree. Right. The question is that because this is a prison, where exactly is this prison? Because it does seem like Road mentioned in this chapter about it being a prison of some kind. Let me see if I can find it again. My puppet. Jump over. Stop that while you're eating them. You show everything about this room, then you are mistaken. Verily, this place is in truth a giant detention center. A giant detention center. Now, he doesn't necessarily say prison. A detention center. The only... If it's a detention center, the only thing I could think of is like maybe this is where like... A place where like... I don't know. That's so weird. I don't know what he would mean by detention center. Detention center could mean many things. Could mean a school. You know. Could mean a prison. Right? Like, what exactly does he mean by detention center? Like, are they in a prison for the giants, right? Like a prison made for specifically giants who do bad things. It could be possible that's what it is, but we don't know. It will really depend on what exactly is behind that wall and what Luffy is currently seeing. So, I'm going to assume he's seeing Elbaf in the tree, Yggdrasil, but what he's also... What it could also be is like he's seeing like this weird place where they're currently at. That maybe is like a detention center for like giants who've done or misbehaved or done certain things. We'll see. We'll see, right? Because he literally said that even if you escape, what this place isn't what you think. So we'll see. We'll see what it is. You know, Usopp saying please let the outside be Elbaf could also tell me that it's probably not going to be Elbaf. I'm on board with the idea that whatever Luffy is looking at right now and what they're seeing after he punched through is probably not a good thing, right? This is just Oda trying to like give you like a small little like what am I looking for? Not a red herring, but like he's trying to be like, oh, this could be something amazing, but in reality it is not, because nothing in this, you know, the chapter and what the guy says tells you that it could be Elbaf, you know. So, who knows? We'll see. No break next week, so we'll see chapter 1130, so that should be fun. But overall, this is a fantastic chapter for Nami. Nami hated silent this chapter. There's a few who are trying to, you know, downplay what Nami did in terms of the attack, because it's the usual spiel about, oh, you know, Nami shouldn't be, you know, Nami shouldn't be the reason, or like it's not Nami's strength as the reason why Zeus was able to use such a big ass thunderbolt. And I'm like, it's the same old bullshit that people fucking always claim with Zeus, that Zeus isn't really Nami's, that's Big Mom's soul or something like that, even though like Zeus literally told her that he's no longer, you know, I don't know if he said he's not connected, but he says something about like he's not you know, associated with Big Mom anymore, so that wouldn't be it. And you clearly see, you know, whenever Nami uses Zeus, sometimes she feeds him like these electro balls that really power him up, and he loves eating those. right? That's her powering up Zeus. It's not Big Mom Soul or anything like that. So the idea that people are trying very hard to downplay this, it's only with Nami. That's the thing. It's only with Nami. Anyone else, they glaze the fuck out of it, but it's only with Nami. For some strange reason, Nami always seems to be that character that they try to downplay her strength, right? They downplay her abilities to actually be a really good fighter, to be really strong, because they fear her being more popular than their favorite character. It's so bizarre. Like, no. If Nami is strong, yes, she's strong. That doesn't mean that your favorite character isn't as strong or isn't important. No, they all each play a role, right? All the time, people always put her as part of the weakling trio. So why the fuck is it wrong for her to get something good? I understand if you're an Usopp fan and you hate this, because let's face it, Usopp needs fucking power-ups. I get that. But it's so frustrating to see so many people hate Nami for that, you know? It's so frustrating to see that. I hate that so much. But for the most part, I think most people are like, yeah, Nami, this chapter was fucking amazing. But of course, there's always those people who always hate for no reason. And yeah, I think overall, Nami was fucking fantastic in this chapter. One thing I do want to mention, and it's not just myself who saw this, but other Nami fans as well. She talks about, in this chapter, about there's no one to blame over a natural disaster, right? Essentially, what she's saying is that, listen, Usopp, no one will be upset if, like, a huge lightning bolt comes down from the sky and strikes down, someone because of divine retribution. She also said that, remember? She was setting it up. She was setting up Zeus to be able to get stronger so that then he could strike down against Rogue, this fake sun god. Nami, once again, is going up against a fake god. We saw that with Enel, right? We saw that, we already had Enel, the whole situation when she helped Luffy get up the fucking the beanstalk again. It's a beanstalk, right? The beanstalk to go up and destroy Enel. Now we have Nami using her abilities, her power to defeat a fake sun god. Well, assuming he's defeated because he doesn't seem to be moving anymore after getting shocked, right? This is what Nami is essentially why it's like so important for people to realize that Nami does have an important role, or like there could be more to Nami than most people realize. It's because Oda is setting her up for something I personally believe much grander. Like, she was already up against like 2 fake gods, right? And she's using these abilities, these weather abilities that Cobra once said the only people who can control weather are the gods. Oda is setting her up to essentially be someone similar to a fucking god. Because she's able to control these weather, these divine retributions, this lightning bolts, all this stuff because of her knowledge of weather and the science behind it. She's able to use the climate tact. All of this as her way of getting stronger in the series, right? She's not going to be as strong as Zoro and Sanji in terms of like, being brave or, being that type of person who, fights off like the really big bads, but she's going to be that character that can hold her own. And she's going to be able to create these weather things, these weather powers, these weather abilities, which according to parts of the story are in relation to like gods and stuff like that. Her going up against gods. All of this seems to me, if I had to theorize, is that Nami will play an important role in the final act in some sort of way. I have a theory on it, but I do think so. It's like all of this seems to be showcasing a setup for Nami for something in the future where it's a possibility where her weather knowledge, her prodigy, the stuff with the navigation stuff where she's able to remember the map, that is going to play an important role, right? Who knows? Maybe the Straw Hats lose all their evidence of the poneglyphs, right? And they're all panicking because now they don't know where the One Piece is located. But Nami will be able to memorize, or probably already has memorized, the map, and that could become useful. That could be a setup for something like that. All of this is just setting up Nami for something greater, something better. And I really can't wait to see what Oda does with this. He has mentioned several times before that he wants to do something about Nami's lore, Nami's past. But anytime he tried doing it early, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna hold off on it. We saw it in the interview with Strong World. We saw it in the interview with Film Gold, where he constantly talks about like, oh, I do have something planned for Nami. I can't wait for people to see it. You know, that kind of stuff. Like, he has things planned for her, and this, to me, this feels like this is like part of that setup. He's trying to showcase you, like, or give you like certain things so that when something does happen, you look back like, oh, Oda, you know, is referencing what happened here, what happened here, what happened here, which a lot of people do in One Piece, where like they think that, or do this where like if something happens in a more recent chapter, they go back to previous chapters. Look at this, look at that. You know, oh, Oda is, you know, foreshadowing this, foreshadowing that. That's like, he's setting all this up for a reason. And all of this stuff that we see with Nami showcasing more of her progression, her character development, could be one of those moments where in the future, when Nami has some sort of important role in the final act, people will reference back to it. And that's why stuff like this, stuff that we see in this chapter, is so great if you are a fan of Nami. Because it's showcasing that Oda does have something maybe later on planned that he wants to eventually go back into, like reference back. And just small little details, just small little dialogue like this is important. And I feel like people will disregard this because of the idea that they don't want Nami to have some sort of important role, because they fear her importance or whatever happens in the near future with her is going to overshadow their favorite character. When you don't think of it like that at all. You don't have to. At all, you do not have to. Don't think of it as overshadowing. Just think of it as, you know, each character having their own certain thing that makes them important to the story. Don't try to compete them, because at the end of the day, all the Straw Hats are working together for one common goal: to help Luffy become Pirate King. Maybe something afterwards, like, you know, Emu and the world government and stuff like that. Maybe whatever the final conflict is, right? But they're all important in their own way. Don't try to deny, don't try to like downplay another character's, you know, success, all because you're a little afraid people will talk more about that character than your favorite character. You know, at the end of the day, they're all very important in the story, and this chapter showcased a lot of like how Nami is able to fit in with everybody, to fit in a possible connection in the near future, whatever it is about her past, her lore that we will see. That's my message to everyone. But overall, this was a great Nami chapter. Anyone who is a Nami fan fucking loved this chapter. The only thing that we didn't like is the idea that this fucking perverted giant undressed her and all that stuff, violated her, similar to like what happened in Thriller Bark. But at the end of the day, we have seen so much of Nami in this chapter that is so fantastic, so fucking good, that we like one thing we've been waiting for a long time to see again about her navigation and map skills. And then we saw once again just how powerful she can be once she sets up Zeus to create a huge attack. And yes, it's not just Zeus, it's Nami's ability as well to get Zeus to become that powerful. Do not disregard Nami just because you don't like the idea of Nami having Zeus, or, you know, stealing something, which again, she is a cat thief, right? That's part of her character, and she steals it from an emperor and now is using that for her own benefit and using her knowledge of weather, her abilities from her climb attack to make Zeus as powerful as he does become. Zeus can do a lot of damage by himself, but he cannot do like the damage that she has just shown in this chapter without her ability, without her cleverness of feeding him electro balls and making him that stronger. Do not deny Nami for something that you personally have an opinion on or a misinterpretation of. It is her ability, and trying to downplay it is just really showcasing that you don't really want Nami to have some sort of power up or some sort of power scaling opportunity, or, you know, some sort of power scaling benefit to her character, because you fear what that will mean. And Like, you don't have to. Just think, don't compete. Just don't compete. So, yay, this was a fun chapter. I had a lot of fun reading this chapter. This was, woo! Oh, man. I talked a lot. My voice is a little cracked a little bit. My voice is a little dry. But boy, I fucking love this chapter. Fucking love this chapter, man. Oh, if you're a Nami fan, you fucking love this chapter too. Like, holy fuck. Oh, so good. I can't wait to see exactly what Luffy sees behind that wall. So that should be fun. Oh. Oh, man. Well, I already saw someone already mentioning about the Queen part not being in the Raw translates. Again, it's very well possible, which is why currently right now I'm a little excited about the whole about the thing with the Queen stuff. But again, we need to see the Raw and the official translations to see exactly if what is said is there. So we will see. To me, it seemed very much like TCB doing it. You know. Oh, hold on. It says right here. If you ask him what specific mention were Queen in the original Japanese, the answer is he did not. Okay. There you go. Yeah, so I figured as much. I figured as much that it wasn't in there, which kind of sucks a little bit, but I'm not surprised that the Raw translations did not have it. So, it's a shame, but still pretty still pretty a cool moment for like how long I believed it. For like, what the fuck was it? Like an hour? Oh well. Fucking people are shitting on Sanji for that panel. Like I said, people shitting on that panel. Like, I'm telling you, like, the way Sanji acts and says things is like, they're so it's so concerning. Because I get what he's trying to say, it's just the way it comes off is wrong all the time, and that's why it makes him look fucking ridiculous and silly. Like, holy hell. But yes, this is the tweet. I'll post you guys the tweet. If you're asking Road specific mention the word Queen in the original Japanese text, the answer is he did not. So yeah, he did not, which is you know, disappointing. Any shipper would be disappointed by it. But at the end of the day, it was nice for like the hour. It was nice for like the hour. So I saw someone claiming that Sanji has to end up with Nami because of all the scenes together, that this has to be a setup for oh, I saw that. No. It does not mean anything like that. All the scenes together, like that, no. The way that is read is more like quality over the quantity of the scenes. For the most part, sometimes having scenes between two characters in a ship is important, right? Sorry, my fucking phone is going off. my god, shut up. Sorry. To me, sometimes, quantity is good. A quantity of scenes between two characters are always good. You know? But at the end of the day, it's also about the quality of the scenes. If you have two characters who are always together, sure, that could be a very good moment for a ship. But what is happening in those scenes specifically? That is what should also be important. Because if you have them always together, but nothing happens where like their relationship advances to something more than just friends, then it doesn't mean anything. It's about the quantity of the scenes themselves. You can have two characters be in every single panel, but if the author doesn't write anything with them where they eventually, grow their relationship to something much grander, then guess what? All those scenes of them being together mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's the quality that matters. It's the quality of what is being shown in the scene, the context, what the dialogues are saying. All of that is important. You can look at a fucking frame and just take it out of fucking context. But what's important is what is happening in the scene. Does it progress anything? Does it give you any sort of reason or progression in a relationship between these two characters? If it does not, then quantity. I think I'm fucking it up. Quantity is where it matters more. No, what am I saying? I'm getting confused. The quantity of the scenes do not matter as much as the quality. I might be fucking it up. I'm sorry. I'm confused. I spoke for like an hour, so I'm a little confused. But yes. The context, again, always matters with what is happening in the scene. You could have multiple hundreds of scenes of these two characters together. But if there's nothing in that scene, the quality of that scene, if there's nothing there that sets them up for something, that shows that progression slowly, then it means nothing. Right? I could give you a bunch of scenes with Luffy Nami in it. Right? But that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is what is happening. What is being done in that scene? What is the dialogue saying? What is the, how has it progressed these two characters' relationship? If it doesn't do anything, then sure, it's a great scene to use for a photo, video, like a montage of photos of your favorite, scenes of these two characters together. But if the quality, if the dialogue is something stupid and has nothing to do with any sort of way of progressing their relationship, then it doesn't really fucking matter. So, again, the idea that a character has to be rewarded, right, from someone, you have to understand, that kind of mentality is similar to if you try to do something in the real world. If you have a crush on somebody and you continuously do all this stuff, pay for their meal, pay for their food, and you are expecting a reward, such as they have to be together, or it's setting up for them, for that person of getting together with you in a relationship, you cannot be angry if they say no. You have high expectations. The other person is absolutely not obligated to do anything just because you are giving them, or doing all this stuff. It's not about that. It's not about the quantity of stuff you do for them, but it's the quality. Does it make them see you in a different light? If it doesn't, then you can't blame them. That's the type of mentality that is in the real world, it doesn't always work. So using it as a barometer for something like this, it's yes, Sanji has helped Nami several times. That's part of his character. He will help any female, even if it's not Nami, even if it's Robin or something, right? Okay, that's great, but they don't owe him a relationship. You know? They don't owe him anything. And Sanji doesn't have to end up with Nami at all. He, like... No, like, because you're absolutely disregarding what Nami's thinking or how Nami feels about Sanji. And whenever Sanji does or says things that are like in a perverted manner or just weird, she doesn't like that. She looks at him with disgust. She has sweat drops. Like, what are you doing? Why are you saying this shit? Like, why would, like, tell me. If you were a girl who some dude, you know, who, you know, was helping you out, you know, but then he says some weird ass shit, be like, oh yeah, oh my god, I love that weird shit about you. No. Like, realistically, no. Like, yes, Sanji can be chivalrous. He can be someone who, you know, doesn't hurt women or does so many things for women, but like, at the same time, the woman doesn't owe them anything. Right? It just doesn't, to me, it just isn't realistic. You know, it's not realistic to think that the woman owes the guy who's doing all of this anything. You know, now who knows what Oda's planning? You know, there's always a chance he doesn't plan anything shipwise, but at the same time, it's like, come on, like, you can't expect this to be something that she owes. That she doesn't owe Sanji anything. Like, this is why it's very important that it's not about the quantity of how many times these characters are seen together, but what is the quality? What is being shown in this? You know, what is being fucking shown in this? The dialogue, all of that is important. If you disregard it, then you're going to be vastly upset as to why a certain character doesn't go with another character. Because you are not seeing the context and the quality of the scene that is being presented when these two characters are together. That's how, when people talk about viewing through shipping goggles, that's what they mean by viewing through shipping goggles. Oh, sorry, excuse me. That's what they mean when they talk about shipping through shipping goggles. You're looking at it at face value with none of the context. You just like seeing those two characters together, right? But you're avoiding what the scene itself is presenting to you. Which is why I'm like, the last chapter, when I see all this, you know, Sanji Nami stuff, like, at face value, yay, congrats, celebrate, you know. Celebrate it. Hooray! But if you're literally avoiding the context and the dialogue being presented in it, then it's like, well, why should I ship this then? The context that it is telling me is that she's not that comfortable around like stuff that Sanji says, and literally hits him in the same chapter when he talks about using the one-way mirror to install it inside the woman's room so that he could spy on them. Like, tell me, how am I supposed to, like, believe that Nami, who literally has stated that she hates perverted beasts, you know, would go for someone who is also being this perverted? That's my reason why I don't like Sanji Nami as a ship, because it goes against what Nami herself likes or hates. It goes against like what Nami hates about certain characters, and she's constantly being used as fan service, or like being used as this like as like this character that is just simply just being used as, like, you know, the what is it? The victim of this perverseness gag that Oda loves doing, or like most anime tropes have, you know, right? And it's just like, why would I, who I respect Nami as a character, want her to be with someone who also does that, you know, even if they're friends with her? Why would I trust that? And having Nami in a relationship with someone that does that, that's what I mean when I say, like, if Sanji didn't have that gag, like, holy hell, he's such a different character. And all of a sudden, okay, maybe Sanji Nami is a good, you know, quality, like, you know, option for people to have. Oda doesn't help at all by doing his gag. His gag ruins that. Because the context of these scenes is what ruins it. The only scene, or one of the few scenes that I thought like, oh, you know what, this is a really good Sanji Nami scene, was in Enies Lobby when he talks about why he can't find a female character to Nami, and Nami says like, you're kind of an idiot, but I don't mind that chivalry that you have, right? And he says fucking, oh, does that mean that me and you are now married? And Chopper's like, no, that's not what she said. And even Nami's just like, whatever. You see what I mean? Like, he says those things and it just comes off like, dude, learn to shut the fuck up. Your words are hurting you more than you fucking realize. That's why it's like, I can't. I fucking can't. I I just cannot view them as like a strong ship, because for Nami it doesn't work out for her, because he's literally the very thing that she doesn't always necessarily like about certain people, like him being a pervert who peeps on her. Like, that's like, it goes against that. So it's like, what is going on? Like, again, at face value, if you just want to look at the art, you are more than welcome to. You are more than welcome to ship that, right? But if you want to tell me like why I should ship Sanji Nami, right? And you give me like these reasons that, like, okay, I could see that, but then disregard the gag, disregard the things, or disregard how Nami views some of the stuff he fucking says to her, then I can't take you seriously, right? Like, for me, if you tell me, if I explain to you why I like Luffy Nami, and you tell me, well, Luffy doesn't have any interest romantically with Nami, then, like, you know what? You're right. He doesn't. You're absolutely right. He doesn't. Like, right now, throughout the entire story, he doesn't have any sort of, like, romantic thing towards anybody. Right? I will agree with you on that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop shipping them. Why? Because as a Nami fan, Luffy respects Nami for who she is, and that's what I would literally just want. Someone who just simply respects Nami for her talent, for her strength, and if she needs help, he more than likely will help. Right? Respect is a key thing that I really enjoy with any ship that I ship. If two characters don't have the same respect for each other, then, that becomes an issue for me, right? Sanji and Nami do have respect for each other, but Nami doesn't respect the perverted side of Sanji, and she knows this. She's seen this side of him, which is why I'm like, I can't, because it will go against Nami's character to eventually be with a pervert, where she has constantly said that she hates perverts. You see what I mean? This is my personal reason why I don't like Sanji Nami. If Sanji did not have his gag, did not do perverted things, you know what? That would have been a good second option for me. But Oda is specifically doing this for a reason, to showcase that, yeah, maybe it doesn't work out. Can it still happen? Sure. In One Piece, anything is possible. You just cannot convince me in any way to, change my mind about Sanji Nami, because at the end of the day, there's too much contradictions that happen between them for me to be like, yeah, they're the ones who are going to be they're the ones who are going to be together at the end of One Piece, right? You just cannot convince me on that, because it just doesn't work out. You could tell me all the good stuff about Sanji, all the good things he's done for Nami, right? But if you don't tell me like the things with Nami, and avoid seeing the disgust look, this uncomfortable look that sometimes she gets whenever he says some of the weird stuff, then you are trying to gaslight me into believing that Sanji doesn't do this, when he does. You have to essentially play both ways. You cannot just play one way, and you cannot just show your bias. You cannot, glaze up one part or one of the characters and then not realize, like, oh wait, there's a side of this that, the other side does not necessarily agree with something the other side does. That's how I've just always shipped in general. What are your thoughts on when fans trying to make videos critiquing other fans' videos and ships they don't like? Like, why waste your time instead of making videos on proving why ship is canon? First off, when you try to make videos critiquing other fan videos, that's like, if it depends on the critique, If it's trying to shed on them, then no, I don't agree with it. I absolutely do not agree with it. Like, if it's actual, reasonable criticism, then you know what, it's fine. But if you're doing it just to shed on them, or like just try to shed on their points, disregard their points, and just try to like glaze up your own personal, whatever bias you have, I don't agree with that. People do it because, once again, critiquing other people's videos is like a really good type of like thing for like the algorithm, essentially. But there's a lot of people out there who watch those type of videos, because drama related, oh, the shipping drama, woo. Like, I think that if you do it just simply to just continue to garner hate for something, I don't agree with it whatsoever. I think I know who you're talking about too. I haven't seen this video, but like at the same time, what I heard is that he's literally just shedding on the video itself. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm highly not a big fan of that. It's like, what are we doing? Like, why? But overall, like I said, Nami has had a tremendous good amount of moments this chapter. And I like, it just goes to show you, just like, to me, Nami seems to apparently have more moments now than Usopp has so far. If they are in Elbaf, right? This is just not a great start for Usopp. I do think that Oda will eventually do something with Usopp later on. Maybe he might get, instead of Usopp Hana, he gets Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. So I think that's a very strong possibility that Usopp gets later on in Elbaf. But it's not starting off well. It's not starting off well for Usopp. But Nami, it's starting off really good. So I'm happy about that. And yeah, it does seem like Nami is going to continue playing a larger role in the story, which I have always stated, which is what I have always said that she will. So I'm very happy about that. I guess it's just confusing me because I don't watch things. I don't agree with I don't like to hate watch. No, people. Well, here's the thing. People hate watch for the reason of drama. Most of the time, it's usually drama, right? Or to critique or like tell them why they're fucking wrong. Or sometimes they use it to agree with people. And people do it because they get some sort of joy out of it. I don't get it, I don't understand it, but people do get some joy out of it. They really do. Also, also want to mention it again. I apologize if my stream is very buffery or like very pixelated or anything like that. My internet is not working well. It hasn't disconnected yet, but my internet has not been working well today, so I apologize for that. If you're noticing if it's blurry, it's not you, it's my internet that's really not going so hot. You know, people just hate watch. The algorithm for some strange reason loves hate watching. They love hate, anger, hot takes, and controversial takes more so than just normal, regular, just people celebrating things that they love. Someone did an experiment where they grifted and they did like stuff they talk about, like hateful stuff, and when they tried to talk about like the good things of like certain games, their view counts, their likes, their comments went incredibly down. For some strange reason, X, YouTube, they have this poor algorithm where that kind of content gets more views. Because as the saying goes, controversy creates cash. The more controversial a take is, right, the more engagement it gets. At the end of the day, it's just how it is. You could avoid it, you could ignore it, but it will still exist, and people will continue to either fight against it, agree with it, or make fun of it. It will continue to happen, and it sucks. It sucks. And frankly, I hate it. I hate it because I don't want to create content where I hate things or criticize other people's videos or criticize people's ships, without telling them that they can't. Like you could criticize something, but you cannot force or tell people that they cannot do what they want or like what they like. You just can't do that. Absolutely, you cannot do that. Right? I could disagree with you on every single point you make, but I will not tell you, absolutely never tell you that you shouldn't believe, or shouldn't, believe why this character is your favorite, why this ship is your favorite, why anything is your favorite. You have your own personal favorites, you have your own personal taste. The only time I will ever do anything where it's like I go after you, the individual themselves, is if you try to force people to, not like what they like, or attack fan art, or fan artists, that kind of stuff. When you take it on a more personal level is when I get more angry about. That's my view on things. I'm not gonna go on a fan video and shit on them for liking it. I'm not gonna do that. As much shit I talk about Sanji for, I don't go on Sanji videos about people saying that Sanji's great, or go on people's posts saying that Sanji is great. I don't go on them to tell them that they can't do that, because why would I want to engage in something that couldn't make them feel like they shouldn't be able to do so? To me, that's not how people should view things. Yet people do view things like that. It's just so strange, and it's mostly because it's what gets engagement. There's a difference between constructive criticism and slander. There's a very huge difference. Until you recognize what is constructive criticism, what is slander, right? You will be clowned on, you will be debated on, people will attack you essentially to defend whatever it is that you're slandering, right? There's a difference. One thing that you should always remember, that if you do want to be seen as someone giving constructive criticism, is not being a fucking dick about it. If you try being a dick about it, then that's a different story. You want that engagement. You want them to feel angry. And shippers do this a lot. Shippers try to bait people, or even talking about your favorite character, like let's say Sanji or Zoro. People bait you into getting angry at you and then commenting, because that's engagement, right? It's you will have that fan base. You will have those fans who will, always agree with you, because you share the same ideas, same things about, why you like something, why they like something, right? But at the same time, right? At the same time, you're essentially creating a yes man group or a bubble where you could say something. Holy shit. K-Sutra Bill? K-Sutra? I don't know if I'm saying your name right, K-Sutrable, but thank you so much for the follow. Hopefully you're doing well. How are you today? Sorry, I'm ranting about stuff. But yeah, like, as I was saying, like, the idea that people... It's just a weird world we live in. What's good came from Twitter? Oh, nice. Nice. Do I know you from Twitter? Like, do I know your username? Sorry, there's something on my foot. Like a cable. That was bothering me. Oh my god! Sorry. This the C4 is a little... not sour, but like sweet a little bit. But essentially, yeah. People hate watch because of many different reasons. A lot of them are usually just to get angry to then say something back to the person who's saying shit that they don't agree with. To me, to me, I won't get involved unless someone decides to slander or say shit or do shit that like goes beyond just talk about fictional characters in the end. I just like a few One Piece people saw you were live, so I decided to pop since I'm glad to see a Nami fan. Oh, well, you know what? Hello. It's nice to meet another Nami fan. Yes, I defend Nami like fucking crazy because I fucking love Nami, and the amount of hate she gets is fucking insane. Like, I already enough Nami hate from just this chapter alone. From the whole thing about Zeus, which is the same narrative over and over fucking again about how like Zeus is Big Mom's soul, so it doesn't count in terms of Nami's, arsenal, like her power or her strength in the fucking chapter. I'm like, that, like, it baffles me that people are disregarding the idea that like Nami can't have her own power up. Like, the reason why Zeus became so powerful to land this attack in the most recent chapter is because she probably fed him electro balls constantly. Like, you've seen it. Oda literally drew this, right? I think he drew this in Wano, where Nami's literally feeding him like electro balls to make him stronger, to make him bigger, make him more of a dark cloud, like a black cloud, to then strike down on an opponent. Oh, maybe it was in WCI, it was first time. And he loves eating that shit, and it makes him more powerful. And, that's connected to Nami's, ability, to Nami's weapon, to the way, she uses her climb attack, right? And she's able to power Zeus enough to be able to deal this much damage. It's not just because Zeus is part of Big Mom's soul. It's literally Nami using her knowledge of weather, using her knowledge of like this type of science to effectively make Zeus that strong, right? Then there's also the side of, well, Usopp created the climate attack, so it's technically not Nami's. First, if you actually pay attention to the goddamn series, right? Usopp created the climate attack, the initial climate attack, to be like a party thing. Like, literally a party thing. Like, it's literally stated there, and it wasn't until Nami decided, like, or figure out a way to use it as a weapon due to her knowledge of weather and, like, cool balls, heat balls and stuff like that, that she was able to use it as a weapon instead of, like, a party favor. Right? Like, why? I don't understand why people don't understand that. They only see what they want to see. They only think what they want to think. And the threat of Nami having any sort of power, any sort of, like, rise in strength, like rise in ability, is just so baffling to me. Like, why are you so afraid? Who cares if she's stronger now? You're afraid that she's gonna be stronger than your favorite character? You're afraid that she's going to be going up against fucking the first strongest, going up against the one below the main villain of the arc? That she'll take Zoro's spot? That she'll take Sanji's spot? No, that's not what's gonna happen. Zoro and Sanji are going to be the wings of the Pirate King. Essentially what that means is that they will be the top 2 fighters in the fucking crew. Just because Oda likes to play around, likes to joke about, like, the Sanji being 4th and Zoro, Jinbei possibly being higher than Sanji, it didn't change the fact that once again, Luffy fought Kaido, Zoro fight the one right below him in King, and Sanji fought the one below Queen. It didn't change anything. Like, people are so fucking scared. They're people are so scared of change, of any sort of change for any other character that's not their favorite. I swear, the Naruto Bleach fans who came over in 2013 really changed the power scaling community in One Piece to just a fucking and now supposedly Jujutsu Kaisen's over, so a lot of those fans are probably going to come over to One Piece too, which may be even worse, which will make power scaling even worse. I hate power scaling community, which is why I don't usually debate about or go on debates in terms of that. I tried once. Apparently the Sanji fan did not listen to me one bit. Who was a Zoro fan? Because they were talking about, like, Sanji cannot beat any of the, any current or former Shichibukai. And I was like, well, he could probably beat Buggy. And he's like, nope. And he's like, alright, well, cool talk. And I asked him why. He said, just because. And I was like, alright, well, cool talk. Clearly, I fell for this bait. Most of the hate posts I've noticed on my timeline on Twitter is I see Nami hate derives from people mad that people ship Nami. I see, so then it just gets stronger and they start dragging her power strength and all that just to be petty. The Nami hate isn't necessarily... Okay. So, to understand, because I've been around this fucking community for so long, the Nami hate isn't necessarily comes from Lunami. It doesn't necessarily come from that. What it comes from is a really strong majority of Nami hate doesn't really come from Luffy fans. It doesn't come from Zoro fans. Surprisingly, it comes from Sanji fans. Sanji fans have always felt threatened a little bit because they have been attacked constantly by Zoro fans and by certain things that he does in the manga, his gag, and a bunch of other communities shit on Sanji, right? Sometimes I feel bad for Sanji fans because they do get attacked a lot. But the way to defend your character isn't by saying or doing stuff where you go to war against every single other piece of fandom out there, right? Because Sanji fans fight Luffy fans, they fight Zoro fans, they fight Nami fans, and a lot of the times it comes from this feeling of, like, Sanji's being disrespected, right? And to me, it does feel like you're being disrespected, right? And sometimes Oda does certain things where, like, you're just like, you're like not too pleased about, or like, Sanji is sometimes made a fool out of. But then you see Sanji having cool fucking moments. WCI, Wano, Onigashima, right? He has these cool moments. Egghead, just recently he had a fucking cool fucking moment that Oda gave him with the whole Vegapunk thing, right? He has cool moments, right? Celebrate those, right? But understand that there are reasons to critique Sanji. There are several reasons to critique Sanji. And some people can't handle critique of their favorite character. Like, sometimes I can't handle certain critiques of Nami. Sorry, my internet's being shitty today. So I apologize for that. But, where was I? Yes, so, like, I wasn't too pleased, but I at least understood why Nami was acting like this, because she was alone. She was in a place where she had no idea where she was. And, of course, she would panic. She would be afraid and stuff like that. I wish she was a lot more braver, right? She has showcased the times when she has been brave, right? But it's only in certain moments. I wish she was brave most of the time, but I also understand that Nami won't always be brave. The moments that she is brave is the moments where I'm like, holy fucking shit. Hell yeah, Nami, let's fucking go. How she stood up to Shiki in Strong World. How she stood up to Oti. All of this stuff. Those are the moments I look for. Those are the moments I'm happy about. I critique the moments where she is running around scared, or like, you know, is scared about seeing like talking animals or shit like that, because why should she be scared of that? Right? I critique those moments. But I also understand that's part of her character. It's part of her character that I like, that I enjoy as well. But critiquing that part of that character is perfectly fine. To me, it makes you more of a fan than just someone who just glazes the character nonstop. Sanji fans, because of like being attacked constantly by other people in the fandom about certain things like his gag, right? They defend his gag. And that in part makes him come off really fucking weird. You know, defending a gag like having Sanji, you know, grope Nami Punk Hazard, right? They defend that, saying that, oh, that's just a gag, haha, laugh, laugh. But anyone else will see that and be like, ew, Sanji literally just sexually harassed Nami because of what he did, right? And when you agree with that, all of a sudden people view you as like, ew, so you would like the same thing, so you would do the same thing as like he does. Oh my god, oh, you know, you're this person, you know, you're a sexual harasser, you know, you like sexual harassment, you know, and that kind of stuff. That's what happens when you try to defend your character without any criticism, or loving a character, you know, without any critique about that. That doesn't mean you hate the character. That doesn't mean you hate the fucking character. What it just means is that you want that part of Sanji's character to change. You want what's best for the character. That stuff is weird. That stuff is very weird about Sanji. So wouldn't you want that weird stuff to be stopped? Like, WCI was a perfect opportunity to at least not get, like, you're not going to get rid of the entire gag, but just lower it. Make it like similar to pre-time skip, where it was just a little like, it was just a little cringe. It was more like him just being flirtatious, not like this weird perverted guy who says weird fucking shit all the time, right? You want that to go back to that level. If a Sanji fan tells me that they don't like it, like you have cases about like you love Sanji but that shit is weird to you, right? Okay, now to me, you are a much more reasonable Sanji fan than someone who literally glazes him and doesn't admit he has any faults, who defends the perverted stuff that he does, right? Like, if it wasn't for that perverted gag that he does, right, I would not hate Sanji, right? That's the only part of Sanji I hate. I don't, if he wasn't that, and he was still pre-time skip Sanji, I wouldn't hate him as much as I do now. Like, I had no hate for pre-time skip Sanji. I fucking thought pre-time skip Sanji was fucking great. You know? Like a really top tier character. But then Oda decided to ramp his gag up to a fucking 11, and that's just what made me just like, oh, I can't. I hate that. At the end of the day, critiquing a character, your favorite character, doesn't mean that you hate the character. That it's not you, that people who tell others that like, oh, if you don't like every part of Sanji, you're not a real Sanji fan. Like, no, that's not how that works. You know, it's like you're blinded. Also, I just realized my stream restarted. Okay, so it's weird. I got disconnected. And now my internet is doing so much better. So something was happening with my internet, and then that last disconnection fixed it. That's shocking to me. Wow. That is shocking to me that it fixed. Whatever that disconnection did, it fixed it. Wow. You said Luffy hasn't really shown any more magic than anyone yet. Is it almost like how Ichigo was in the beginning? Similar, yes. The only difference is that Ichigo, when he saw Yoruichi naked, he had a reaction to it, like he blushed and stuff like that, right? Like he was a very shy person, but he didn't show any sort of romantic notion to anybody, right? He showed softness, like with the way he spoke with Orihime and sometimes, and you know, with sometimes Rukia. He spoke with a little softness in it. You know, his voice had a little softness, his face softened and stuff like that, right? With Luffy, it's more like he just doesn't personally care right now. Like, I made a post about this a while back, about how, like, Oda said that Usopp brings out the bad side out of Luffy, which is why he had a nosebleed for when Nami flashed him in the Alabasta bathhouse. I made a post on it, which I could bring it up. Yeah, the stream froze first. Sorry, reset the app and came back on. Noticed the stream reset and said you were a minute into the stream. Yes, my internet was weird earlier today. My internet was fluctuating. Then I guess the disconnection restarted my stream, and now my internet is working fine. I don't know what happened, but my guess is that they are doing construction on the block, so I'm assuming that's where it was from. I'm assuming that's what caused like my internet issues, because they were doing construction on my block. So it's like, okay, maybe that's what it was. And then when they finally stopped, my internet just reset itself and my stream reset it as well. Where am I? Where is it? So let me know if you missed something I said, and I'll repeat it. Here it is. So I made this post. This is one of those posts that a lot of people use for the idea that Luffy's asexual, that he's not interested in anything sexual wise, that he's asexual, which is, for those who don't know, asexuality is essentially that you don't have like sexual attraction to people. You don't have any, or have very minimal sexual attraction to people. It just means that you don't think about them in terms of a sexual manner. It doesn't mean that you can't like be emotional or like romanticize them, or like, you know, people can't fall in love still. But essentially, in this is the panel right up here. Nami flashes them in Alabasta because, you know, because Oda for some reason wanted to make that as a thing. You know, she charges them all like 100,000 berries and stuff like that. And the thing is that this happened twice actually. The other time was when Bon Clay was in the Nami costume, and he lowered his shirt to show that he could also transform the body. Luffy both times had a nosebleed. Someone asked Oda about this, and he responded simply by saying, "Wow, I got a lot of questions about this. Is this what you guys are paying attention to? Don't just read manga all day. Go study some more." Okay, well, I say that, but I do nothing but draw manga. I don't know this is when we were drawing it, but if Luffy had a nosebleed and we saw Hancock's body, I think you will all be like, that's not the Luffy we know. I believe that Luffy reacted to Nami's naked body twice in volumes 18 and 23, and both times it happened, Usopp was with him. He's a suspicious one. In other words, when Luffy's alone, his reaction is what it was with Hancock. He's interested, but he's not entranced by her. But when he's with Usopp, who's the same age, it's like a kid on a school trip. His bad side comes out. Yeah, both sides of Luffy feel right to me, so the culprit is definitely Usopp. So, when to many people this reads that like because Usopp was there, you know, he reacted with the nosebleed because, you know, Usopp, you know, he was just mimicking Usopp. But reading it you know, over and over again, I noticed that that's not necessarily what he's saying. And one of the important things is this: his bad side comes out. What that essentially means is that Luffy does have that side of him where he does, you know, see people in a sexual manner. You know, he does have some sort of like possible sexual attraction, right? He just needs like a conduit or something to bring it out. In this case, it was Usopp, because it was like a kid on a school trip. If Usopp was acting like, you know, kind of like perverted or like, you know, like a bad self, Luffy would probably imitate that as well and, you know, join in on the fun. But the idea that Luffy does not have a, you know, any sort of like romantic or like, you know, sexual bone in his body doesn't seem to be the case, because Oda literally says he has a bad side to him. That's what Luffy's bad side is. But he just needs someone to bring it out. Which, you know, in any situation, if he does be with anybody, regardless of who it is, they could possibly bring that out of him. I think that's what Oda is essentially saying. That Luffy is interested. He's just not entranced. Meaning that Luffy does have a bad side to him, but he's not going to go and be like Sanji or be like any other, you know, like other characters who, you know, have nosebleeds or blush or get flustered in regards to it. But when there is something or someone that could help bring it out, then he will have that bad side come out. So essentially, think of it this way. If Luffy finds a partner and, you know, they want to get into like a sexual mood, right? Luffy could get into that mood, right? Sure, it will probably take a while, right? Because of the way Luffy sometimes is. But he does have a side to him where he does know about this stuff. He knows about romance. He knows about kissing. He knows about marriage. That's why he rejects Hancock twice. He rejected Lola in Thriller Bark. He knows about this stuff. He's not socially awkward like Goku was, where Goku was literally living on a fucking, you know, in the forest by himself with his grandfather, where he had no social interaction whatsoever. Luffy has had social interactions. He's probably seen weddings. He's probably seen people kiss. He's probably seen all this stuff, right? I think people are just thinking that because of the way Luffy is presented in the manga, he doesn't have any of that. There's another SBS that talks about Luffy being a healthy boy. What does a healthy boy mean? It means someone that has those type of like normal interests as well, right? Now, asexuality is normal. Like anyone who's an asexual is a normal person, right? It's just something in their I don't know what the right term would be, right? But you know, they're still normal. It just when Luffy's talking about Luffy, when Oda's talking about Luffy, he's essentially saying that he's just like any regular dude, you know. He definitely could think about having like some sort of sexual interaction, sexual attraction to somebody. He just doesn't bring it out like anyone else does, or like everyone else does. That doesn't mean he's necessarily asexual. It just means that he has a side to him. He's not focused on it at all, and the possibility of him being in a romantic relationship is not weird, or it's not unreasonable to believe that he can't, regardless of who it is with, right? Luffy being alone because of the way people perceive him as like this child, like because he has this childish wonder or like this childish habits, you know, and like because he's not shown to be attracted to anybody doesn't mean that he can't eventually fall in love with anybody. He just doesn't care. Exactly, he doesn't care at the moment. His mind is focused on becoming the Pirate King. What he cares about is following his dream, right, and getting to that goal. Who knows what happens after that? Who knows what happens when he accomplishes everything? He could very well find someone, and he could very well be, you know, find a partner, you know? Like, it just seems to me that people have misunderstood Luffy's character in that regard. Part of that is due to Toei, because Toei, for the life of me, does not know how to characterize these characters in filler arcs. Or, you know, filler moments in the anime, and they just fucking shame it. They like the amount of times like Luffy, Nami, Sanji, all these characters get such bad rep. A lot of times it's from these fucking weird anime filler scenes that just are so badly written for these characters. Why do a lot of people hate Nami? Why do a lot of people hate the fact that she hits everybody or believes that she's the one who hits everybody when all the Straw Hats do it? Because Toei doesn't understand how to fucking write characters. They take one fucking aspect of a fucking character and just fucking punch it to the ground. Punch it in your face. Shove it in your face. And then, because it's also viewed as a comedy gag, people take it fucking seriously as well. And it's just like, fucking Christ. Oh my god. Nami, for the most part, there's like maybe like one or two instances where she only hits Luffy or hits anybody for the fact that they did something stupid that harmed individuals. Why? Because Nami knows what it's like losing people that she cares about. She cares about the Straw Hats, right? She's a navigator. Her responsibility is getting from one island to another. She is responsible for their lives out at sea. So when Luffy jumped down from Wano into the ocean, why would she not be angry when when she literally could have not only lost her life, but could have lost, people on the crew? She had every right to punish Luffy, right? People who think that she was being a fucking bitch don't understand her character at all. They just don't like seeing Luffy get beat up by Nami because, oh, Luffy's the captain, captain should be the authority. He should be, the one in charge of everything. Nami shouldn't be the one punishing him or hitting him or anything like that. She should respect her captain. She does respect him. She respects him so fucking mightily. You see it in Wano, where she would not tell Oti that Luffy would not become the Pirate King. She respects him. That doesn't mean she can't fucking stand when he does stupid shit like that. They think she just does it for no valid reason. Exactly. There's only two instances, at least one or two instances where I didn't like what she did. One of them was during Skypiea and Jaya, where Luffy was wearing a night costume and she punches him and breaks the armor. To me that was like, all right, there's no need to hit him for that, right? But I think why she hit him is because he wasn't paying attention. He was just goofing off, right? At the same time, I'm like, but that's still, come on. There was no need to do that. Right? It's like, no. That's like one of the few instances where I'm like, I feel like that didn't work out. I don't think that was a good reason to hit Luffy, right? But for the most part, whenever he does stupid shit, Nami does that. And it's not just Nami, it's everyone else too. No one else mentions when Usopp does it. No one else mentions when Sanji does it. No one else mentions when Zoro does it. Sure, does Nami do it frequently? Sure, because that's part of the gag that she has with Luffy, right? It's just, there is a reason for everything that, these characters do. Even if they're a gag, there's a reason for it. And people just, I don't know. People try to take and view things so seriously to the point where they feel like it's domestic abuse when it's not. It's like, oh my god. It's slapstick comedy. That's also another thing. People cannot understand slapstick comedy. Mostly, I think, because slapstick comedy is a really dying comedy style. It's a dying comedy style. We don't see much slapstick comedy anymore, like the Three Stooges or anything like that, right? It's a dying comedy style, and a lot more people growing up are not exposed to it. Looney Tunes and old school cartoons where that kind of stuff happens, and a lot of people just don't know about it, don't know that that's a comedy style. So it's like, yeah. But I really do like the friendship Luffy and Nami developing. The scene where Luffy put his hat on her and let her crying out frustration and pain. It just really does something like it can develop something more, and I like that. Yeah, because there's a lot of things in that scene that, like, there's so much importance to that scene where it's just like, I could talk about it all day. I don't want to go too much into it, I could really talk about it all day, but there's so much into that scene that just represents just how much like both of them believe in one another, and as the story progresses, you could see that trust and bond and that respect for one another constantly grow. And like I've always said in terms of shipping, if you're shipping Straw Hats, understand that at the forefront, first and foremost, they are friends. If you try to make it seem like certain characters are not friends, whether it be Luffy, Nami, Sanji, Nami, their relationship, that they're not friends or like more than friends or like less than friends, you're going to be seen as someone who doesn't understand the story. Always understand, they are friends, right? The sibling argument doesn't work in this situation because, again, Oda has never ever once mentioned them as siblings in any sort of way. Oda has been known to identify what siblings or how siblings act in the story, right? With like Luffy Ace and even Luffy Momo, where like Luffy says that he thinks of Momo as like his little brother, right? He doesn't do any of that with any of the Straw Hats. You know, part of that is from the what if scenario that he wrote in SBS, that people think that it literally means that they are an entire family. So it's like they don't read the what if part, right? Yeah, I mean, the way I view Luffy Nami's relationship is more so of like, what is their bond? How is their bond? How strong their bond is? Do they have any sort of respect towards each other? Do they do anything where like the other might be a little, about and stuff like that? And just like, how is Oda presenting their relationship compared to everyone else? Now, of course, sometimes you have shipping goggles when you think about it like that, right? Of course. But I think at the end of the day, I just prefer Luffy Nami's relationship more into the lines of it being more potentially being romantic, but at the same time, it's like, if they just stay as friends, that's also fine, because at the core, they're friends. At the core, they're fucking friends. And shippers, I think, should always understand that. And there's nothing wrong with just being friends. There's nothing wrong with seeing them as simply friends and at the core of their relationships. Because one of the reasons people use the sibling argument is so that, because if you try to call them friends, there's a chance they could become something more. If you use the sibling argument, that means that you don't see it at all as a potential thing that could advance into something more of a relationship. But they are friends. That's all they are. They're friends at the core. And if something happens, great. If it doesn't, you can still ship them no matter what. That's the thing. You could still ship characters, and a lot of people put too much into canon, wanting their ship to become canon, when reality is that even if a ship becomes canon, that doesn't mean you can't stop supporting. You'll probably support it less because now you realize, like, what's the point, because they're not canon. But it doesn't mean you can't like the fan art, you can't like anyone making videos on it or anything like that, right? At the same time, it's perfectly fine to still do so. It's like, it's not anything strange. I love the Luffy Nami Don, one of my favorite in the media. Yeah, exactly. I just really do like their bond so much, right? And as a Nami fan who really respects Nami's character, right? And how, like you could see, like, Nami is used countless